All right, it is now 1 o'clock here in Boston, and I'd like to say hello and welcome to the Alpha Anywhere weekly Q&A demo and webcast. My name is Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software, and I am pleased to present Dion McCormick, no relation, who is our lead solutions engineer here at Alpha. Apparently my volume is very low. Hang on a second, let me try this again. All right, for those of you listening to me, hopefully you can hear me a little bit clearer. So today, in today's session, I believe Dion is going to be going over instant update and probably some other great things, but he's also here to take your questions. So by all means, type those questions into the chat window of the WebEx Meeting Center. So let's begin. Hello, Dion, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Let me go ahead and make you the presenter. All right.
Dynamite. Let's go ahead and show my screen.
Excellent.
There we go. And you should be seeing my screen.
Not quite yet, but I'll let you know.
Says it's sharing. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
Oh.
But you know what? Maybe you are. Maybe it's just me. Can other people see Dion's screen? Because I'm like my.
I can see my screen.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Baby steps. Baby steps.
All right. Yes, wonderful. There it is. All set. Great.
I see. Pilot error. Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. We really enjoy having you with us. We always appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us, and we want to make that as productive as possible. So today, we have a couple quick announcements. I also have a fabulous new feature that's in the pre-release that I have to share. Just have to share. It's so exciting. It's so powerful, and it's just great stuff. So we're going to do that today, and then we're obviously going to then open up to the group for questions. So again, we're here for you. Please take the time to put your questions in there, and also, by the way, do make sure also to take the time during the week. If you come up with a question, don't have to wait. You can always email us at guides, GUIDES, @alphasoftware.com. And we're monitoring that. We get questions and stuff in there, and we use that for our content. So we always really appreciate it when people can send that information to us. So with that today, I have a couple quick announcements. First, dun-dun-dun-dun, Alpha DevCon 2018 is now online. And I'm going to turn this actually back to Dave for a second. Go ahead and, if you don't mind.
Sure. So, we did lock down a location and have signed our contract, and we are excited to be doing the Alpha DevCon 2018. By the way, is my volume a little bit louder for those people who are wondering?
Yes, it's coming through really nice.
Okay, excellent. So it's going to be held in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be a shorter event this year, so it's going to be 2 presentation days, 1 day of training. We've done 5-day sessions before. Some people like them, but a lot of people say, that's just too much time. I can't get away from work that much for that long. Also, the nice thing is, you are in Orlando, so, if you want to go and see the parks or look around, it's kind of a nice place to be. It's going to run from a Wednesday through a Friday, with the training day this time at the end, a little bit different. So lots of great new content will be coming your way. As Dion liked to say earlier in the year, this is the year of the API, and it really is. We do have a couple of really good sessions planned out for APIs, not just consuming API data, but also using Alpha Anywhere to create APIs that are used by other systems. So I know that those sessions will be exciting. We're also going to start going into web applications. Typically, we focused in the last couple of years almost exclusively on mobile. We've heard, though, that people are interested in web, so we're going to make sure that there's some web content. And as Dion is scrolling right now through his screen, he's sort of showing you basically what we have planned. All this, is subject to change a bit. It's still early season. We may be adding new things, and it isn't too late for suggestions if you have some stuff that you really think that we should be covering that you don't see on our schedule. But there's still early bird pricing available till the end of January. And I think you go. I think you're going to get an awful lot out of it. All right, So that's it for me. Thanks.
Yep, and you can go to alphasoftware.com, home-devcon-2018, and obviously you can register You can see our agenda as I popped it up there. A lot of great content. We have so many cool things that are coming out. A lot around APIs, modern pieces, very tight, very focused there. And then obviously we can also check out the venue, which is very cool. And I'm excited to have two little ones, so we're golden. But this is a really neat place. It's called the B Resort and Spa. And I guess the A resort was booked, so we had to go to the B. But no,
yeah, it was a little pricey. We didn't want to. It's still a really nice place,
yeah.
though, as you can see.
Yeah. So no, but it's a phenomenal place and really just a great venue and really, and I don't know if you've ever flown into Orlando, but it's dirt cheap because Orlando, like it's massive traffic there, so they try to get people in there cheap. So flights are good. So check it out. Go online,
flights
check out
are good.
our agenda.
Also for those of you who had some issues, I mean, a lot of people who attend these webinars are also people who've attended our DevCons. So last year people did like the venue, but they said, wow, it was a super pain in the neck, though, getting from the airport to the venue. I had to take an Uber, I had to take taxis, it was expensive. This place, there's a bus that comes automatically from the airport, picks you up, drops you off at the B Resort and Spa. So we really tried to take people's recommendations seriously, and I think we're going to end up with a much better DevCon this year. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, and what's really cool is they're very focused around, obviously, the Disney resorts and other resorts around there. So they have automatic, buses that go there. Actually, too, and this is more personal, is that I'm going to be taking my girls, and they have the early bird. So if you stay there, you can get into the parks earlier. So we're very excited. This is going to be a really fun time. But I'm excited because we're going to have an extremely powerful set of content for you that is just going to be just really powerful, especially after you see what unfolds this year. Pretty good stuff there. So very excited. Go ahead and go to Alpha DevCon, get that, go online. And you can sign up, early bird special, good to go. And we're going to have a great time. I'm looking forward to a really large crowd. And as always, it's going to be powerful, powerful. So today, what I'd like to do is talk, and we've had a series. It's called DevOps. And I know a number of you have joined us, and we really appreciate you doing that. The idea behind it is creating not only a development environment, which is what Alpha is, but a whole ecosystem around being able to quickly take concepts, ideas, turn those into reality, but more importantly is get them into the hands of the people out in the field. And so a lot of what Alpha is focused on is not only increasing the capabilities of our already extremely powerful low-code development platform, but beyond that is making it easier and easier and easier for you to take it from where you have it on your development machine out into the outside world. So you're actually going to see a lot of work this year on very important like API connections and capabilities, which will expand your ability to add value to it, but also things around Git, so we can do more further source control integration, which does a lot of pieces there. We also have Alpha Cloud that's all about reducing your operations to get your systems up and running. But one of the key things is developing and deploying mobile platforms in the field. So let me jump down, and I'd like to announce, and this has already been in the devs there, is that instant update speed you won't believe. It's phenomenal what this is going to do. So let's take a little trip back. Now, if I were to develop a mobile application, we had our ability to use our development system, connect directly to PhoneGap, generate APK IPKs, get them signed, etc., and then deploy those to the app stores or directly to the machines through mobile device management or things like that. And then the devices could then communicate back to our application server, whether running on-premise or in the cloud or on Alpha Cloud, either one. And so this was a really powerful way we were able to do this. And so this, first and foremost, saved a huge amount of time and allowed you to do it. But you have the situation, well, now that I've got this down here, if I make changes to my app, then I'm going to have to redeploy that back down to the mobile phone through this process. So, good news, bad news. Good news is you have these powerful apps you can develop very quickly. Bad news is that you have, when you're ready for your new release, it's a little bit more work. So Alpha introduced a concept, and let me jump back here. I'm jumping around on here, so bear with me, called Alpha Launch. And Alpha Launch is available in the App Store. And I'm going to go all the way down. You can see I got to start cleaning up my slides. So we introduced Alpha Launch, and the idea was it was a native shell application. You could download it to your machine, And then what you could do is then you just download your apps into Alpha Launch and you'll be able to run it. So a really huge step up in terms of your ability to deploy apps. And you were using the Alpha Launch out of the app stores to do that. And we had an enormous amount of interest in it. We have people who are creating white label versions of it. There's a lot of other cool features. You can add multiple apps into Alpha Launch. But we thought, hey, the development team said, hey, God, it's so nice once I have an Alpha Launch app out there. All I have to do is push it to the server, and then they can download and update that, and boom, I'm done. I don't have to go through all the rigmarole of PhoneGap and other thing else that's associated with that. So the team went back into the labs, and I'm sure they blew up a few things here and there and did some experiments, and they came up with Instant Update. This is so cool. Basically how this works is it's a new feature that's built into Alpha. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to go through a demonstration to show you in a few minutes. But basically, you can now create a PhoneGap app with this enabled in that app. And the neat thing about it is that now you go through the regular process of building your app, enabling that, putting it into PhoneGap, downloading it on the phone. You have a app on the phone. Then you can update that app by using Instant Update. And the way that works is in the development system, you can say, okay, I'm putting up a new version. It actually puts it up to either Amazon S3 or your own environment on S3, and then it automatically brings that down and updates that app. And so now when you need to update your apps, you don't have to go through the whole process. You can go through a very quick and simple process of publish and go. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and show you a demonstration of this. And again, a demonstration is worth 1,000 words. So let me go ahead and I'm going to show this on my screen here. So I'm going to put it here, and you'll see, hold on, it's looking for my devices. Make sure I've got Air. Oh, let me launch Air Server. Make sure that's up and running. Ah, there we are. Just took a moment. As always, just make it a little stressful there. It's a little slow in there, so bear with me. Come on, connect. Got to show my screen. It doesn't. Always fun. It always does that right when I'm ready to show something fun. So bear with me. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm basically going to cast my mobile device onto the screen, and for some reason it doesn't like it. So let's just do something real quick. Let me go ahead and quit this. Okay. I'm relaunching that. So almost there. Again, apologize for this. Oh, man. Not showing it there. You know what? Maybe we can use a different manner to show the screen up here. So bear one more minute with me. Okay, I'm going to redo that, reconnect it. You know what? Bear with me 1 minute. I'm going to use a different method to do this. So, okay, hold on a second. Thanks for your patience. Almost there. Okay, going to try this.
All right. See how that's going. Are you trying to do reflector?
And almost there. Okay. So this is going to be a little crude, so bear with me as I set this up. Okay.
While Dion is doing that, I'd like to remind everyone they can
And
ask
Dave,
questions.
let's see, we'll go ahead and start resuming this.
Yep.
Dave, you still with me there?
I am still here. Can you hear me? Hello, Dion.
I don't know if this is going to work. I'm so sorry, everybody. Okay, there we go.
All right.
Can you hear me okay, Dave?
I can hear you, although I don't know if you hear me.
There we go.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Okay.
All right.
So are you seeing my app?
We are. I like this old-fashioned one.
This is
no
like
reflector-free. This is flying without
I
a net.
know. Okay.
Oh, we see it. We see it. Yep.
Okay, good. And this is important. And thank you, everybody, for your patience there. So you'll see real quick that you have an app here that I built, and it has a lot of functionality. And in this case, I've got a version number, and this is a native app, so I can actually get out of this. Go ahead. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to go ahead and go to here, and I'm going to launch it. And you're going to see, and so it's a little hard to see there, but okay, so I've got my app, and I can say, click a button here, and you'll see that it says good day is there, and I think it's having a hard time autofocus. It's trying to autofocus there, so leave it alone. Okay. So, I can have functionality. I can click, say, good day, and it shows a little prompt and things like that. Okay. So with that in mind, what I want to do is I'm going to go into my app right here, and I'm going to go into Alpha, and I'm going to open up my app. Okay. And, standard Alpha 101. We've got our app here. And you'll see I have a button here, and I'm going to change this to say hello. And then what I'm going to do down here, and I've got a new version, so I'm going to go ahead and put this version number. Now, I could go in and add other buttons, new list controls, you name it, I have that ability. So now what I'm going to do is hit Working Preview, and then we can test it right in here. And you can see, now we've got say hello instead of good day, and we've got a different piece here and a whole bunch of other things here. So now I'm ready to go to produce that. So as we talked about before, normally what we'd have to do is go ahead and push it up to PhoneGap, put a new release on PhoneGap, have the people download it and install it on their phones, but that can be challenging. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to PhoneGap, and I've enabled what's called Instant Update. And I'll show you how to do that in a few moments on a new system here. So you'll see that I've got Instant Update enabled. And you'll see that I have three options here. I can do a new baseline build, I can update the current one, or do a rollback. And I'm going to do an update for this first one here. So now I'm going to click OK. What this does is it takes these files and it copies them up onto an S3 Amazon that has already been pre-set up. So this takes just a few moments here, and now those files are up on that server. Okay, it's all exciting. So let's go back here. I'm going to exit out of here. Okay. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go into Waypoint, and then my app. You'll see it's updating right there. You'll see it gave me a little version number. It's hard to see in there, and I apologize. Oops, we didn't. And again, pre-release, so we're seeing some things happening that we're still in pre-release, so we're testing and adding new capabilities, so bear with us. I see that sometimes. Okay, let me just do one other thing. Obviously, let me just, okay, good. My publishing is down there. So let me set that up. This is not my best demo, is it there?
I'm going to blame WebEx. I know it's our fourth week of using WebEx.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
gotta
it's
be
also, I'm actually, these kind of things here. So let me go ahead and make sure that if I go up here, let's see what they, I want to see what version. It's 17 is what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and go. This will get better as it goes. Okay, I'm going to redo it. Basically, I'm relaunching the app on my mobile device, so bear with me as I do that. And the idea is, and you'll see in a few moments, that the app will then be refreshed as it is opened, and your newest version will be on there, and will have the benefit of having these things updated in the field without going through the whole PhoneGap rigmarole. And you get the best of both worlds in that from that standpoint here. So almost done. And we'll go back there. Okay. Okay, I'm going back to show that. So we'll go here, we'll go waypoint. Reopens. You're going to see it's going to give us a little notice here. Launches there. Okay. Man, I've got something amiss. Golly. Okay. Okay. Let's do one more here. Make sure it goes up. We'll try this one more time. And okay. Okay, I've got an issue in my pre-release, so I'm going to quit fighting it right now. And I apologize, everybody. It's been working very well, and it's dramatically and a huge dramatic input in terms of what we can do. One other thing I wanted to show you real quick that it allows you to do is when you do your publishing to it, you can also do what's called rollback. And so therefore what you can do is you can say, oh, you know what, I didn't like that last release. I can click rollback, and then the next time the person launches that app, then it will allow you to, the last version or whichever version you pick will be updated from there. So the benefit of that is that, not only do you have the ability to quickly iterate and update your apps with little or no work out in the field, but you are also able to roll back also in the same easy manner. So if something goes wrong, then you're able to do that from that standpoint there. A couple things is that if you have additional files or SQLite databases that are included, you can update that, and these will automatically be pulled down along with it. We're spending a lot of time testing it. Obviously, as you can see, it's pre-release, but when it works, it's phenomenal, and it is a very, very fast and easy way to update your apps. And also, you can do what's called a new baseline build. So if you want to, you can say, hey, instead of updating a current one, you can do a new baseline build. And what will happen is that at that point, it will basically resubmit it through the PhoneGap process. So you have a basic one with Instant Update integrated with it. Now, a key capability of Instant Update is that it's going to reduce your costs. That's really key, meaning that instead of having to go through all the hassle of PhoneGap and everything else to build a new one, you can quickly iterate and update. I'm also using it a lot for prototyping, meaning that it's very quick for me to throw up and put an app together, put it on my phone, and then as I do quick iterations, I don't have to go through a lot of extra process. So I can quickly push up new versions, put them down on the phone and test it. So we have the PhoneGap shell, but this also kind of substitutes and helps along with that standpoint there. Now, last but not least is that this is very easy to use and enable. So let me go ahead and go to demonstration here. And let's say I'm going to do a new PhoneGap app. So I click PhoneGap. I would, put in my credentials. I tell it what platforms I want. I tell it what there. But now you'll see we have a new feature here called Enable Instant Update. So all I have to do is say yes. And this will give you a little background of what it is, what the different things are. And then what happens is that we've now enabled Instant Update. So what's going on right here is two things. It's telling the development system that you're going to use that method, but also when it builds the PhoneGap app, it includes some capability that will, when the app launches, check and see if there's any new versions available. And again, this works offline, meaning if you're not, if you're not offline, don't have a connection back to the server, then it's going to be fine, and it's going to go ahead and launch the one that it already has on there. And then the next time it gets a connection, it'll be able to do that. So I'm going to enable that. Then I've got some settings here I want to kind of walk through here. So there are two patch locations, which is where it's going to store your changes and your versions. One is called Alpha Software. We've set up an Amazon S3 bucket that is available. You don't have to do any setup. You don't have to do anything at all. You can just start using that. And basically what happens is the app that's been built calls back to that Amazon S3, grabs the latest version, and then downloads it and updates it from there. If you would like, you can also enable your own private S3 bucket where you put in an S3 connection string, which is in the web storage connection string, and the URL to that, and therefore it's going to use your S3 bucket versus Alpha's default bucket. And there's some setup here that you have to make sure when you set up that bucket that it's set up properly. And that's nice because then you control and you have control of where your data and your app updates are. But we included this one. Actually, I thought it was a really good idea. We included this one because we wanted people to start using this right away. Even in a demonstration test prototyping phase, you can go in there and start using this right out of the gate without having to do any kind of work in setup. Then once you're ready, you can obviously set up your own S3 bucket and then set up all the connection strings and everything else associated with it. So we're excited because that will allow people to just test it without having to do a lot of work and a lot of setup, which can be sometimes, getting it all right can take a little bit. Not too hard, but you do there. You can also include, these are system messages. So like verbose, it'll tell you what's going on. It's telling you all those pieces. If you say none, it won't give any messages at all. So it's sort of a silent update process. And then you can also include your own after update message here. So if you wanted to notify the person, like, okay, here's information about that from that standpoint there. So a lot of little functions and capabilities that are available. But that's all you have to do is basically enable instant update, set up your parameters of where the patch location is going to be, either on Alpha or a private S3 bucket, and set that up from there. And then all you do is save and upload a PhoneGap build. You'll go through, it'll create the build, you can download it, put it in there, and then once that's done, then from then on, when you relaunch this, what you'll see instead of that is you'll see, go to Web Projects, instead of the regular PhoneGap build, you'll have this, and then you have your option of creating a new baseline, updating it, or rolling it back. And then you click OK, and this basically takes your updates, your changes, puts it up onto either the Amazon server that we have or the one you've specified, and then automatically the app already is always going to check that when it launches to be able to see what the latest and greatest is. Now, the team, this is a work in progress, as you obviously saw, and I again apologize. It works fantastic when it does, but I must have something configured wrong on my environment. But the beauty of this is that we're going to be enhancing this. So you're going to see, before it's in full release, obviously we'll be testing and validating some more and really making sure it's rock solid. But also we're going to enhance some of the user interfaces to make it a little easier to understand what's being built, what's being put elsewhere. So keep an eye on that. You'll see updates to that. It is in the pre-release now, so if you want to download it and start playing with it, you are welcome to do that, and you can feel free. And again, what's nice is, again, you can use that out of the gate capability of our server. So you don't even have to go through set up a server. You can just go on and start playing with it and do test builds and have a good time from that standpoint. And that is instant update. Really cool things is, again, you can update your PhoneGaps apps without having to go through PhoneGap. It's got our built-in S3 hosting, but you can also use your own. It's got rollback and version management, meaning that you'll be able to pull it back. And it is available in the pre-release now, and we anticipate it will be full release in our next big release. So a lot of testing going on, and we would love to get any feedback you have on using it. So feel free to start playing with it and enjoy it, and tell us what you think, what you like. And the beauty of it is it's fast. Once you get going in this role, do a quick update is literally push and done. You don't have to worry about sending stuff out, notifying people. It's all going to be handled automatically for you. And the real beauty of that is that as we talk more and more about optimizing your developer operations process, let me go all the way up here. Now we have that of the release and deploy. So, the whole idea is you plan it, you code it and build it, and then you get it out into the world. If you're on a website, you just push it to the web. But if you're out on a mobile platform, you have to release it. Well, now this part right here, we can dramatically shorten and reduce the amount of effort for this phase so that you can get it into the hands of your users and reduce your overall maintenance costs, make your time to market much faster, and have a lot of capabilities there. And again, my apologies. was not as impactful as I'd want from a demo, but it really is cool, and you're going to enjoy it. And I think it's going to be a very powerful tool for all of our developers. So with that, Dave, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to you to see if we have any questions on that. Feel free to complain. That's okay. We're strong.
That sounds good. That's right. Refunds will be issued.
Yes, yeah.
Full refunds. Well, it is a super cool feature. We are using it here for our own applications. In fact, Transform is going to be going into the Apple Store really very soon, and Instant Update will be part of that, which answers, I think, one of the first questions that someone asked here, which is, do Instant Updates work for iOS and for the App Store? And the answer is yes, it does. And it does point out that Apple Store is stricter than Google Play. And man, is that ever the case. Apple Store is very strict. But so far we've had no issues with that. We've had no issues with Launch, which is sort of a similar technology, both the branded ones and the unbranded ones. So it's all pretty good. So let's take a look at some of the other questions that we have.
Great.
Here's one about PhoneGap. This person says they've never used PhoneGap, but is it possible to automatically create a PhoneGap application from an existing alpha-based UX?
Yes. So the way that's done is when you go ahead and you develop your UX, whatever that UX happens to be, and realize you're going to want to probably have it mobile optimized, because when someone uses a PhoneGap app, they're usually downloaded on a phone or tablet kind of environment from there. Once you've created that UX, you can go into PhoneGap. You put in your PhoneGap credentials, and this you get from PhoneGap.Adobe. It's on the Adobe site, and they have a free account, so it's not going to cost you anything if you want to start playing with this. You get a free account, you get a single app that's included. If you need more than that, then they have very inexpensive charges for, I think like $10 for 25 apps or whatever. And what's nice too is you can always delete that app because it's really a build service. So once you've put it up, done everything you need to do, and downloaded it, you're done. So you could delete that one and redo it. So you're not forced to have it on there forever. But then you decide which platforms you're going to build for, Android, iOS, or Windows Phone. You can decide whether to use the new instant update capability from that standpoint there. And then you save and upload to PhoneGap Build. And what that does is it basically takes that UX and any content that's needed for that, wraps it up, sends it to PhoneGap, and let me go to here. Once you've done that, okay, go here. And once you have it, and I've got a paid plan, so I have a few more other things here. But you'll see then, here are my list of my different apps. And then I can click this, and it shows me a QR code that allows me to download that app onto a Android device immediately. With iOS, you have to kind of set up a certificate and do a few other things to make that work. So there's a little bit more work to it. But you can take an existing UX and then immediately hit PhoneGap and push it up to PhoneGap and wrap it into a PhoneGap wrapper, and you'll be good to go. No, you can add some ID information, version information, etc. from there. So yeah, feel free to play. And the only thing, again, I said is that, when it's running on that phone, if you're using a mobile optimized layout, with panel navigators and stuff, it's going to just look better. If it's more of a desktop web UX, it may, it'll work, it'll be on there, but it probably won't feel like a mobile app. So you may want to do some tweaking on that if you don't already have that in place.
Oh, let me turn my volume up. That'll help. Excellent. Thanks very much. So someone asked about Alpha Launch. If we wanted to do customized branding, they're asking, is there an additional license or is there an additional fee? And there is a fee for us to do branding work on Alpha Launch. So if you want your own personal one to put in the store, we can do that. We'll charge you for it. Typically, that service includes not just the branding, but we'll also help you jump through all the hoops that are involved in getting it into the iOS store and the relatively fewer hoops of getting it into Google Play if you'd like to do that as well. If you want information on that, just send an email to sales@alphasoftware.com and they can get you pricing and details. Here we have someone. Oh, this is cool. Our company uses Alpha 5 version 8. Now, it's not the oldest version. I've heard people correct.
No,
They're wondering, is big Alpha now, have they outgrown their needs? And yeah, I maybe. Alpha Anywhere has become a very sort of rich development platform, And it is a little bit different than Alpha 5 in terms of its focus. We do still have Alpha 5 version 11, which still currently runs on all operating systems, and we have a special plan in place where you can upgrade to that. I think we help you move your apps over and get them running.
Yeah, we have a lot of experience.
We have a lot of experience on that, and that also comes with a whole bunch of training and demos and stuff like that. This is old stuff, but it applies to that version. So if you want to build out a desktop application, we have videos on doing that. So if you've been with us for a while, thank you very much. But send an email to sales@alphasoftware.com. Tell them you've got A5 V8 and say, I need some basic help. What do you have for the Alpha 5 people if Alpha Anywhere is a little bit too big? So let's see what else we've got here. Someone is having an issue. We haven't tried this yet, but they said, is anyone else having an issue with the Amazon lookalike app in Alpha Launch? So it looks like they wanted to put that app in Alpha Launch.
Oh,
I haven't heard any issues about that, and it should work. So just, by all means, send in an email with what's going on. Just send it to guides@alphasoftware.com, and I can help route that in the right direction. But speaking of the Amazon lookalike app, would you mind just opening that up? It's you may not have it installed. Maybe you do have it installed, but if you don't, it's certainly in release notes where you can take a peek.
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and do that. So bear with me while I open that up. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, here's a cool question. Can I get to this one next?
Oh, they're good ones.
There are a lot of good questions today.
They'd be nice. They just didn't leave after I messed up everything up.
That was very. Well,
I'm out of this.
Stayed.
I'm blowing this I'm going to blow this taco stand.
Exactly. All right. So this is it. This is the Amazon Look-alike app. It's basically a shopping cart. Oh, very cool. I'll let you demo this.
Oh, no. You walk through it. I'm
so, people have asked, I'm interested in styling my apps, and, what can you do, and can you create a customized look and feel? And so what we did was we decided to take the world's most popular online retailer, Amazon, and see if we could just use out-of-the-box Alpha Anywhere technology and recreate that as a mobile application. And if you look in the current, I don't know that it's in documentation yet. I think it's on its way. Sarah could probably answer that question. But it is in the pre-release notes, and we'll show you how to get those files if you want to play with them. Again, if you do have any issues with them, it's not working for you, or it's not working with launch, send an email into guides, guides@alphasoftware.com, and we'll be happy to take a look at it. All right, so this is kind of cool. Does Alpha Software have any plans for incorporating any blockchain tech into Alpha Anywhere? The answer is we don't have plans, but we are seriously looking at it. So it's a very interesting technology, blockchain, and we want to be part of that. So nothing yet on the official roadmap, but we are taking a look. If there's something in particular you would like to do with the blockchain technology, some particular use case, by all means, contact us. We'd be very interested to hear from you. All right, looking through at the other questions. Here's a good one. Do you have any suggestions for when 2 or more developers are working on and publishing one project? So how do you keep project files updated on both developer systems so that one makes changes, it'll update the other project's files? In other words, how do you do this so that the programmers just don't step on each other's toes when they're trying to work? One thing I will point out before I let you answer is because sometimes we get asked this specifically. Can I have 2 people working on the same UX component at the same time? And right now, we do not advise doing that. You can work on different parts of the project, but not part of the same UX. We're looking at ways of handling that, but we do have a lot of other things you can do, and I'm going to let Dion answer that because you've done a session on it pretty recently.
Yeah, in fact, we just went through it. We're using source control, and in that case, it could be either Git, it's a version, whatever you like. We actually, if you don't mind, we did a really good review in our last webinar, I believe it was last week, where we went through and showed how to set up Git and check things in, check them out.
Last week or the week before, I think, actually.
One of the, very recently here. And the beauty of that, and that demo went really well, so you really should watch that one. Give you a better flavor for what we can do.
Unlike today's train wreck. Oh,
Yeah.
We feel for you, man. Now, that one did go really well, trust us.
Yeah. So what that allows you to do is, once you've set it up, you can have people working independently, and then you can check things in and out, and it will control to make sure you don't step on each other. And actually, Alpha now saves, and let me go here. Go to, let's say, saves files as JSON. So let's go all the way to a UX component here, and I'll go ahead and here show you what it looks like. But we actually save the file now as JSON, so you can actually use a diff to see the difference. Now, obviously, it's a very complicated file with a lot of stuff, but hey, if you wanted to see the differences between two controls, you can open them up and do a diff between them and see where the changes are. Although applying like one set to another is not going to be super simple. It's better just to rename them, open them side by side in Alpha, and then copy and paste. But that said, it works really well with source control. And then what's nice with the source control is that you don't step on each other, meaning that if I go in and change a UX and you go in to change the UX and then we try to sync and everything else, it's going to tell us there's a difference between them. So I don't accidentally publish something, or you don't accidentally publish something that hoses the whole system from that standpoint there. And usually what you do is you have a build master. So you have a set of developers, and then there's one person who actually publishes. Now, each person can publish to, say, a QA or a test environment. That's fine. But when you want to publish to production, you're going to usually want to have one individual who's responsible for that. So the idea is everybody does their work. They do their tests, and they do everything else. They check it in. They usually test environment to run a suite of automated tests or whatever it happens to verify that nothing's broken and all the new things work. And then you have a person who publishes it to the actual production environment. Now, that said, there are some cool methodologies. One is that you can actually publish to a folder. And so often what you do is when you publish to production, you're actually pushing it up onto a server. Now, with Alpha, you're pushing it up into a folder on a server. With like IIS, it's actually calling IIS and creating a website and doing all those things there. But if you're using the Alpha server, what you can do is actually publish to a folder locally and then have Git move that up there. So you can actually use Git to control that actual methodology of moving the files onto the standalone application server. That's a bit more of an advanced topic on how that goes there. Now, that said, Alpha is working diligently. Our development team is working very, very hard to add more source control integration into Alpha. Because if you look at any modern development process, and this is where we get into, it's not only the development, but the process of how you monitor it, build it, release it, and everything else. Source control is absolutely essential because of multiple people working on it, but more importantly is controlling the process. So if there's a problem, quickly returning back or being able to manage it properly. And what's really cool about all the new capabilities in source control is that source control is becoming more and more powerful, meaning before it was obviously really good at managing files, putting files up and down and checking the differences between them and all those kind of things there. But actually source control now has a lot of capabilities where when something gets checked in, it'll actually trigger a webhook. And so you can actually add automation to things. So like what some people are doing, which is really cool, and Alpha is moving in this direction very rapidly, is let's say I'm developing something. And we got a plan, we've done the code, I've built it locally, it's all good there. And then I'm ready to test it. Well, there's abilities where you could say, hey, just check in your code to the development or into the source control system, and then it could automatically trigger a set of tests to be triggered at that point, because the source control system would send out a webhook to be able to do it. And if you see like tools like Zapier and stuff like that, you can actually connect different systems to source control. So source control is becoming more and more that center point of this developer operations environment, and it's becoming very, very powerful, meaning that you can not only to use it to manage code, but also to help facilitate the overall process of, say, triggering a set of automatic tests, automatically sending things to certain places, sending notifications, updating, say, ticket systems. So let's say you're using Jira or Assembla or some other tool like that. When you actually check your items in, you put in a tag inside there of what issues that are being worked on, and the system will automatically update, say, your ticket system to say, oh, yeah, we've got a new check-in. It was in this release, and it's now been updated here. So you can do a lot of those things here. And what Alpha is working on heavily is how do we take advantage of all that powerful capability. So, and you'll see it in our DevCon agenda. Later this year, we're going to be adding more source control integration directly into the development environment. So I don't even necessarily need to use a third-party tool to be able to place and manage things under source control within the Alpha system. And also with Alpha, which is really cool, is that we can obviously not only consume web APIs, but we're working on producing web APIs. So we're going to be able to actually add API capabilities to integrate with source control and do other things. So a lot of very exciting things, a lot of rich capabilities coming out this year. And a really good question is that basically, first and foremost, it allows multiple people to work on a project at one time and control that process. But beyond that, it goes for much, much greater vision of being able to use source control at a deeper level with Alpha to trigger workflows, to engage with ticket systems, and do other things along those lines. You're really going to enjoy all the things that are coming down the road.
Awesome. Yeah. So Git integration is in fact on the roadmap, and we will be talking about that at the conference. So that's a soon to be released feature, I believe. Not pre-release, but it's not in the too far in the future. For those of you who asked, hey, where can I see this cool demo where everything actually went right for Dion to show the Git
I will be sending
integration?
We'll be posting
I've posted it. So if you go to the chat window right now, there is a link. Don't watch it now. Come on, pay attention to the webinar. Only 14 minutes left. But that's the link. It's the Vidler video of that Q&A session, which we did earlier.
You know why? Okay, I think I know why.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to explain to everybody right now. It's not my fault.
Okay.
Now, the fault is I didn't test it right before we went online. But if I go here to the Alpha, actually, in today's pre-release, there's been a bunch of enhancements added to it. And my guess is that I now have to do a republish to start like a baseline publish.
A new baseline.
Yeah, because we're adding other data that's like right now when I go to Alpha, and again, this is all, in process, but we wanted to get this in your hands earlier than later.
I know you touched on baseline, but can you explain that in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, so let me go.
Why is it when I go to that publish page, it says baseline or not baseline?
Yeah, so the idea.
Choose it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so baseline is, okay, I'm recreating my fundamental app. And therefore, you're going to, and actually, let me go ahead. So, for instance, if you need to change PhoneGap plugins, you need to create a new baseline application. So that's really the key difference between a baseline and an update. An update is like, oh, I've added some new controls, I've changed some text and things like that. But what we're going to be able to do, and this is again why it's pre-release, is that when you upload it, you're going to be able to add more data, like comments and other things like that. So my guess is the new version, when you update it, it pushes data up onto Amazon S3 to be pulled down by the app. And my guess is that broke this. So again, I apologize. I really should have tested it before we got on.
Pre-release feature.
It was working yesterday.
But
my guess that we kind of shifted. But
so again, baseline is it's non-instant update. So you actually have to download the new version of the app the old-fashioned way, and you'll use it in two scenarios. One is if it's the first time publishing the app because there's nothing to update, should be obvious. And the second is if you have to change plugins because we can't push plugins up. We can only push the alpha stuff up.
Right. And then an update is
but
just
that,
the
you
alpha
can
stuff.
be adding a lot of stuff. That you could add new panel cards. You could be adding new controls. You could be adding whole new sets of functionality and not have to build a new baseline. It's really under those two scenarios.
And then obviously the other one, which is really critical, is rollback, which says, oh, hey, yeah, I've got – see, I'm stuck on 16 out there, and we published a couple times there.
Yeah.
But let's say I want to go back to that. Like I broke something and I need to go back. You can just click this. Boom, it pushes it up to the server. And then the next time someone opens their app, it's going to pull down that pre-release, that previously published one. And so that's really powerful for the uh-oh kind of moments that happen in the development world.
Right.
So.
Excellent. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, here is a neat one. Is there a way in Alpha to use the background picture and select an area to pop up hang on, let me just reread this.
disappeared off the screen. Is there a way in Alpha to use a background picture and select an area to have a pop-up window or panel with data or actions specific to that area of the picture, like a machinery parts list, inspection checklist,
Interesting. Yeah.
So here's a picture of a machine, and I want to click on this area and show me what parts are in that machine.
What you can do, which is very powerful when you create a new web component, I'll go ahead and just create a UX here real quick to show you this, is that first, you can include any kind of content you want. So, like I can put in here, I'm going to put in a panel card, okay? And I can make the background of that panel card be an image. I don't know, do I have an image in here? I might have an image in here I can use. Oh, there's one. It's not going to look good, but you can put that there. And so now you can see, yeah, no, that's not a good image for this one. Okay. And let's just check that real quick. Kind of pieces there. Okay. So you can see it put a background image there. Now realize that it's stretched because it's like a little tiny GIF that I stretched on there, so it doesn't look very good. But that said, you can now, on top of that, you can go ahead and put any kind of controls on there. So I'll put some buttons in here. I'll put some text boxes. Okay. And what's nice is you can, I got to go to live preview to show that image there. Now that's okay for just putting like backgrounds on, so you can see it just overlays that on there. Now, if you want more precise functionality, you can do the following. You can add a container in here. So let's put a container here. Okay, so a standard container just allows you to put some controls in there. But there's a special type of container called the absolute layout container. And notice it has a different color there. So I'm going to go ahead and add some text boxes again. And test 2. Okay. And so now I have this container here. And once I've set, and inside there are my controls I want to place on here. So now with that container, you'll notice over here it says absolute positions for the code and also has a background image. So let's go ahead and do something real quick. Bear with me. Let's go, let's say control panel image. Okay, so I'm going to go to images here. Let's grab something interesting, and I'm going to go view that image, and I'm going to save that image, and I'm going to just put it in my project. So let's go to my demonstration project, web projects, there you go, and I'm going to save that photo there. So I'm going to go into this absolute layout. I'm going to say first it has a background image. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this background image that I just loaded into the system. Okay. And I click OK. Now I can go to my working preview. Oh, no. Well, then I want to go into here where I say absolute positions for controls. So now you can see I'm seeing my image right there. So I can open up the area on the image, and then you'll notice that here's my image, but here are my controls that I put inside my layout there. So I can grab this, and I can say, okay, put that, let's say, right here. So I'll go ahead and put that right after this little button here. And then I can take this test 2 and put that also over here, like here. Okay? So now I have test 1 and test 2. In fact, let's go ahead and save this. Let's get a little crazy. And other controls, let's make a button here. Click me. Okay, so I'll go back into my absolute container here. And I've got my button here that I want to set up. And I want that button to actually be over this right here. Okay, so as you can see, I have my background image, and I'm clicking and dragging, and I have absolute positioning. So I can highlight it, I can move it, I can change it, etc. in the way I want to go. So now, okay, and I'm going to save this. And now I'm going to do a live preview. And you're going to see we have a control. And you'll see I've got a text box right there, and a button right here. Obviously, I could make that a transparent button if I wanted to just have a button on top of these things here. These I could change the formatting, and these are all standard. So once you have there and you've laid it out using absolute layout, these are just, you can go into the click me button and say, okay, add a new action to do a message box and say sample message, do any other stuff. So all the standard plain Jane alpha capabilities. And once you do that, you can go here and click me, and there's my behaviors. And of course, to edit this, I just go to my absolute layout, go to the control positioning, and say, you know what, that button needs to be over here. And we click OK, and we do working preview. And there's my click me now on that button location. So as you can see, you can play with it a lot. So that's a way you can overlay images or use a absolute layout to overlay controls. Now, one other thing I want to show you is that we also have a control called you can put another type of container in there, and that container can actually be called a window container. And a window container allows you to say, for instance, I'm going to do a predefined one, which is like a drop-down one. And let's say, and so what this allows you to do is now I can create a window here, and I'm going to go ahead and add some controls in there. Okay. And now this button click me here, what I want to do is instead of a message box, I'm going to do a show window. Let's see, where's I think, yes, it's this one right here. Okay. And we'll go ahead and go in there. Now you can kind of get the best of both worlds, meaning like if I want to put a panel, I've got to do it as a drop down. So let me adjust my window properties here. And let's make it a mode list, a drop down. Okay. And so now what I can do is click that. Oh, it's still doing that out from the left. I have to adjust it real quick. Basically, what you can do is let's make it drop down panel. Let's see. Okay. Where is it? I don't want that one. Okay. Got window name working.
It's not height by any chance.
Yeah. Well, what it's doing is it's doing a CSS slide out from the side.
Yeah.
And I thought I had, bottom line is once I get my window set up properly, when I click here, what it does is, right now what it's going to do is open up this window right here, but that would open up as like a little pop-up window or a drop-down area, like a control panel that's built into it. And I apologize. What you do is when you create the window, you give it a specific style, and I've got it as a drop-down window type, but let's just try 10%. Maybe it's because I do 100% there. Let's give that a try real quick. And so the little trial and error there. Yeah, so you'll see there's a window right here. And actually, you know what? I know what it is. Let's do a modal pop-up. And we can say dock location, not dock the window. So that you adjust all these pieces here. And let's give that a try. And yeah, there it is. So for instance, this dropped in right here, and then I could do it and then close it. But you could easily have had that pop up underneath here to be able to enter the data, etc. So the two methods are you can use the absolute layout where you put controls directly on top of an image. And you do that by creating an absolute layout container image, put in a background image, and then position those controls using this methodology right here. And it's exact. It's to a pixel level accuracy. Or you can do things where you can have a background image and then have a pop-up window to be able to pop up a little bit more complex, like if I want to click that button and have it bring up 3 or 4 things to a set. So let's say you wanted to click on a wheel, and then in that wheel you wanted to add 3 or 4 parameters. You, instead of putting all those controls on top of the wheel, you can make it as a pop-up window. So you can kind of mix and match these different capabilities to come up with what you're looking for. And again, the trick there is the absolute layout container that's available from there.
Wow. Great. So before we let you go, Dan, there is one
Oh, yes.
question that we're going to ask, and that is making that button transparent. How do you go about doing that?
So buttons are right here are completely laid out and dictated um, by
CSS.
their style.
Mm-hmm.
So what you would do is you would go in and let's see, I'm using well, you can make it a button, but actually what I would probably do is I would probably use a image control.
Yep.
Let me go ahead and do this and put a single pixel in that image control. And that static image right there. And so I can even go in this absolute layout. And so on that image, I have the ability to put click events and stuff. So if I just wanted to put like an invisible layer on top of it, maybe I can move this image right here and go right here. So I'm laying that image right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and go to this image here, and I'm going to add an on-click event. And we'll do a message box, and I'll just say image message. Okay, and oh, it's missing the image. So you would actually put like a transparent image, like a PNG transparent image in there, and then they'd be able to do it. So you notice how I had
PNG or a GIF, sure.
Notice I had to click it right up here at the left, but if I clicked it down here, it didn't detect it. So you just make a transparent GIF and you associate that. You can reuse that GIF over and over because each time you have an image control, it's going to be laid out on a different location. I can basically use the same image, but then have them relayed out one on each top of these things. And then you just attach the behavior to each one of those image buttons. So that's probably the way to do it because button, it has all the styling and stuff like that. A transparent image, like a transparent GIF that's sized for that is
right.
probably
You won't
the better way to go.
have to mess around with a lot of CSS in order to do that.
Exactly, yeah. And you're going to get reliability because, hey, an image is an image. Web browsers know how to display images, and it's just going to say, put that image at this location on the screen.
Yep. Wonderful. Hey, thanks very much. We are out of time, although I do have one more question since it's quick and related to this that I'd still like to ask, and that is, does this work in mobile? And what happens if you click that mobile button? Does it work?
Yeah. You'll have to work on your layout of the screen and stuff like that.
You have to decide the positioning. But
yeah, see, I'm kind of scooting it over.
Yeah.
But the functionality is there, but, I'm having to swipe it over to show the whole image, but it all works fine in mobile.
Right.
Yep.
Great. Dan, thank you very much. And
Thank
I'd like
you.
to thank everyone who attended today, and especially those people who asked questions. And keep the questions coming. You can send them to us at any time at guides, GUIDES, at alphasoftware.com. So a copy of this, I almost forgot to say, we have a new video library, still sort of in beta, but it's up to date, more or less. It's at alphasoftware.com/video library, all one word. You can also find a recording of today's and previous sessions on YouTube. Today's session will be posted in about 2 days, and as well as our new video library. So great. Hope to see you all next Wednesday. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.